When Predator Badlands hit theaters, audiences celebrated it as a story about acceptance, found family, and breaking free from toxic traditions. But I've got a different take, one that might make you uncomfortable. What if the villain of this story wasn't actually wrong? Today we're talking about Njohrr, Dek's father and the clan chief who ordered his own son's execution. And I'm going to argue that Njohrr isn't just a villain. He's the embodiment of everything that made the Predator franchise legendary in the first place. He represents the same hunting philosophy as three of the most iconic Yautja we've ever seen: the jungle hunter, the city hunter, and wolf. Let's break down why Njohrr is the embodiment of the classic Predator. Predator Badlands opens with a crucial line: prey to none, friend to none. This isn't just a cool tagline. This is the Yautja code distilled to its essence, and it's the lens we need to understand Njohrr through. Now, I need to be clear about something because there's a common misconception. Yautja are not emotionless. They feel pride, rage, competitiveness, determination. The jungle hunter roared when he took down his prey. City hunter was clearly enraged during his final battle with Harrigan. These are passionate warriors. But here's the distinction. They don't form emotional bonds with outsiders or prey. They channel their emotions into the hunt, into competition, into proving themselves. What they don't do is befriend, partner with, or emotionally attach to anything outside their species and clan structure. And when we look at the jungle hunter from the original Predator, the city hunter from Predator 2, and wolf from Aliens vs. Predator, Requiem, we see three hunters from different clans who all follow this exact same code. This isn't about lineage or bloodline. It's about a shared philosophy that transcends clan differences. Let's examine each of these hunters to understand what Njohrr represents. The jungle hunter came to Earth on a solo hunt. He systematically eliminated Dutch's entire team. When Billy tried to make a stand on the bridge, the jungle hunter showed respect for the warrior's courage by killing him. When the jungle hunter mimicked Billy's laugh, that wasn't bonding, that was mockery. He took trophies, he hunted with precision, and when faced with capture, he self-destructed rather than accept defeat. Zero mercy. Zero attachments. Mission complete or death. The city hunter operated in Los Angeles during a heat wave and gang war. Now here's something important. People often get this wrong. City. Hunter didn't give anything to Mike Harrigan. They fought to the death. City hunter nearly killed Harrigan multiple times. It was the elder Predator from the Lost Tribe who gave Harrigan that 1715 flintlock pistol after Harrigan killed City hunter. That's a crucial distinction, because it shows the code in action. City hunter showed no mercy in combat. The elder honored Harrigan's victory afterward because he proved himself as a warrior. City hunter didn't befriend Harrigan. He tried to kill him. That's the code. Wolf from Aliens vs. Predator. Requiem was sent on a cleanup mission after a Predalian outbreak. He had multiple opportunities to work with humans, to communicate, to form any kind of alliance. He didn't. He did his job, killed everything that needed killing, and operated completely alone until his death. 3 different clans, 3 different time periods, same code, same philosophy. This is what true Yautja behavior looks like according to the original films. Now enter Njohrr, clan chief, traditional warrior. And when we examine his actions through the lens of these three legendary hunters, everything he does makes perfect sense. Njohrr sees that his son Dek is a runt, physically smaller, weaker, unable to complete hunts successfully, and he makes a brutal calculation. Execute him now. Prevent future dishonor and danger to the clan. People call this cruel. But let me ask you something. What would the jungle hunter have done with a weak member of his hunting party? What would city hunter have done? What would wolf have done? They would have left them behind or eliminated the liability. Survival of the fittest isn't just a saying for Yautja. It's existential. Weakness in a hunter society gets people killed. And when Dek's brother refuses to follow orders and helps Dek escape, Njohrr kills him too. Not out of rage, not out of cruelty, because proved he couldn't be trusted to uphold the code. He chose sentiment over duty. From Njohrr's perspective, both sons were contaminated by the same weakness, emotional loyalty that overrides warrior discipline. Everything Njohrr does aligns with what those three legendary hunters would do. He's not a villain. He's the embodiment of classic Predator philosophy in Badlands. Now let's talk about what Dek actually did and why it would horrify the jungle hunter, city hunter, wolf, and Njohrr. Dek goes to Genna, the death planet, and encounters Bud. Bud is the offspring of the apex predator that Dek is supposed to be hunting. The mother is the target. Bud is a juvenile. Here's where people get confused about the code. Some say, well, Dek couldn't kill Bud because killing children makes you a bad blood. That's correct. Killing unworthy prey, children, the unarmed, the weak, violates the honor code. But here's what people miss. There are only two acceptable options when you encounter something like Bud. Option 1. If Bud is deemed worthy prey, and honestly, she might be since she later kills Njohrr by biting his head off, proving she's a formidable combatant, then you hunt her. You test yourself against her and take her as a trophy if you win. Option 2. If Bud is not worthy prey because of her juvenile status, then you completely ignore her. She doesn't exist to you. She's irrelevant to your mission. What you don't do, what is never an option under any circumstance, is option 3. Befriend her. Form an emotional bond. Adopt her into your found family. That is the violation. Dek chose the one path that no traditional Yautja hunter would ever consider. And then there's Thea, the Weyland-Yutani synthetic. Now, I've heard people argue, but Yautja have worked with humans before in the comics and expanded universe. That's true. But we're not talking about what's possible in the broad universe. We're talking about what the jungle hunter, city hunter, and wolf would do. Those three hunters would have used Thea as a tool for survival. Extract information, use her technical skills, then discard her the moment she was no longer useful. They wouldn't form a partnership. They wouldn't develop genuine friendship or emotional connection. Dek did all of that. He formed bonds. He let emotions guide his decisions. He created a found family out of beings he should have either hunted or ignored. From Njohrr's perspective, from the perspective of traditional Yautja code, this isn't growth. This is corruption. Here's where I want to reframe the entire narrative, because everyone talks about how Dek has daddy issues. Dek doesn't have daddy issues. Njohrr has family issues. Imagine being a clan chief, who has upheld the code his entire life. You've hunted with honor. You've led your people. You've raised your status through skill and determination. You represent everything the Yautja are supposed to be. And then you watch your son fail. Not just fail at hunting, fail at being Yautja. You see weakness where there should be strength. You see sentiment where there should be discipline. You see your bloodline, your legacy, everything you've built being corrupted. Njohrr wasn't trying to hurt Dek. He was trying to protect his family's honor, his clan's reputation, his species' security, and yes, even Dek himself from future dishonor. Here's the tragic irony. Njohrr ordered Dek's execution before any of the Genna events happened. He never witnessed Dek befriending Bud, partnering with Thea, abandoning the code entirely. He made his brutal decision based on prediction, based on seeing Dek's fundamental nature and knowing it would lead to disaster. And he was right. The creature Dek befriended, Bud, literally killed Njohrr. Dek's alliance with Thea potentially exposed the Yautja to Weyland-Yutani intelligence. Everything Njohrr feared came true, but he died without ever knowing just how right he was. He died knowing his son was defective by Yautja standards, but not knowing the full extent of what would happen on Genna. If Njohrr had witnessed Dek hugging Bud, it would have broken his heart. Not because he's cruel, but because he would see his son becoming everything a Yautja should never be. He would see the code, the same code followed by the jungle hunter, city hunter, and wolf, being completely abandoned. That's not a villain being evil. That's a father watching his legacy crumble. So when I say Njohrr is the embodiment of the classic Predator franchise, this is what I mean. He upholds the same code that made the jungle hunter a legend, the same code that city hunter died following, the same code wolf never compromised on. Prey to none, friend to none. Hunt with pride, determination, and competitiveness. Show no mercy, form no attachments. Complete the mission or die with honor. Predator Badlands is being celebrated as a story about breaking free from toxic tradition and finding yourself. And from Dek's individual perspective, maybe that's beautiful. But from a species perspective, from the perspective of everything the Yautja have been for their entire existence, Njohrr was trying to preserve something essential, something that kept his people strong, kept them feared, kept them predators. Njohrr isn't the villain of this story. He's the last guardian of a dying code. He's the last true hunter trying to prevent his species from becoming something soft, something vulnerable, something human. And in the end, his worst fears came true. The question Predator Badlands asks isn't whether Dek should be allowed to be different. It's whether the Yautja can survive if their warriors start choosing compassion over the code. Njohrr's answer was no. And honestly, the jungle hunter, city hunter, and wolf would probably agree with him. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Njohrr was right to try to preserve the code? Or is Dek's evolution what the Yautja need to survive? I'll see you in the next one.
If you enjoy our content and want us to keep delivering the latest news, reviews, and gameplay tips, please consider supporting us by clicking the like button Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified about our latest uploads. Join the Power Play community with Jason Creed. Thank you for being part of our journey. Let's keep gaming together.